Before the retention graph of this video drops, please upvote this bug report MC257540 because every sheep farm made on 1.18 or later, the ratio was actually cut in half for the amount of wool you can get. So this is really crucial to upvote to get it fixed. Additionally, can you also upvote MC280336 because sheep can't eat if they're standing on farmland or mud. So if this was fixed, a lot more farm designs would be possible. Thank you. Now for correction time, after I was testing the early versions of the new farm design, I noticed I was getting above 100% wool rates, which didn't make sense. So I went back to Omengo's video and watched how he got that data.
I was also curious how much wool you would get per sheep per hour in a non-grass spreading limited design. So I made this test world here, where we have sheep standing on grass blocks, which they would eat, and then also trigger the dispensers to be sheared, and activating a command block replacing the dirt block with another grass block again.
I found the fundamental flaw, which the system here is a free game tick check. However, if sheep can eat every 2 game ticks with that bug, or every single game tick when the bug is hopefully fixed, if you notice, 1 and 2 is smaller than 3. So essentially what would happen is tick freeze. So this here is 0 tick. So if a sheep eats it, for example, and then we do a tick step, as you notice, it's not replaced yet. So if a sheep were to eat again now, it wouldn't be detected. Same with this one. And then on the 3rd tick, it's finally back. So due to that, the 46 wool per hour is incorrect. So if you're before 1.18, you should be actually, the maximum possible is 144 wool per hour per sheep. That's using the math odds. Now due to the bug, that's every 2nd tick that sheep can eat, it drops down to a maximum of 72 wool per hour per sheep. That being said, the eating animation of the sheep has no impact as far as I can tell from my testing. So 100% efficiency is aiming for 72, and hopefully with the bug being fixed, we can aim for the 144. That being said, I gotta retest the original farm in my previous, in the video a long time ago, 2 years or something like that now. Because as soon as I saw it was above 46, like, oh, it's 100% efficient, because I didn't realize this bug, this error here. So doing that, I did some retesting of this one. So first of all, 0.4% of, because since there is grass spreading and sheep can eat grass, it's not a 1-to-1 bone meal use, so you can actually save 0.4% of the bone meal from the kind of like the grass spreading. That being said, with the baseline of the 72 in this version, it's 96% efficient. So we're looking at 69.25 wool per hour per sheep. So that's this method here. That being said, another thing that came up is essentially how do you get this individual sheep. You can only have 1 sheep per cell because that was the problem, why it would break itself. Anyways, the question was how to get sheep in each cell. I'll show you one way here. There might be more easier ways, but this is the way that I can see doing it. Essentially put your first sheep in, put the lever down, so that's there, and then what you want to do is just put a block up here and essentially do your too high hole there to put in your next sheep, and then just put in essentially 2 glass, and then from there you can come to the side, drop the sheep down, and then just remove that, and then you kind of repeat again. So essentially you put your block there, and then you do your 2 hole here, do that, put your sheep in, puts in the 2 blocks, and then come down, break that, and drop down, and then remove whatever, and then you can put your grass like that on top. So that's how you get multiple sheep side by side without any of them flying out. Now it's on to kind of the research phase of how I managed to design the new farm. So the first one here, the reason why this farm fundamentally fails is if you put multiple sheep in the single pen, whenever it turns into dirt here, its bone meal doesn't work. So that's why this design here was capped to only 1 sheep per cell, because if 2 sheep eats on the same tick, it breaks itself, and when you have 24 sheep, that's pretty inevitable. Because I did try to maximize the yield rates based on this farm here of hopefully grass spreading and bone meal doing multiple cells because they can do like a 5x5. However, this broke in like under a minute, so this concept of using grass is fundamentally flawed. So I'll turn this guy off to not be annoying. Now let's head back. So that being said, I was thinking, is there a way to make it so sheep can eat the grass but not reach the grass block, where if it's destroyed, the farm's ruined? Summary is no, because even if you have it just in that one where it could reach this, if it was directly under, they can still eat this grass block underneath. So there's no way of separating or positioning the sheep so it can only reach this block here but not this block. So grass is out. So what's the other options? Well, I was thinking, okay, grass can be placed on other blocks other than grass. One of them is mud. There's two problems with mud. One of them is I have no way of naturally generating grass onto mud. And second of all, even if it was, as you can see, this sheep is still sheared because of this bug here. Because essentially what's happening is the sheep's hitbox is slightly below a full block, as you can see, compared to these two sheep. So instead of checking this block, it's checking the mud block for grass. So it's never going to be able to eat this grass here. So essentially, this here is never possible, which is sad. So please upvote this one to hopefully fix that. Other one here is actually tough, because when you bone meal tough, you can get grass. The only problem is if you do it, well, there's too high, but that's fine. But what the other problem is you get carpets, and sheep can't eat carpets, and because of that, you're not going to guarantee a short grass every single time. So this method here is also a bust. Now with the new coming up real soon, because this is pre-release 2 in 1.21.5, there's now tall grass, and as you can see, the bone meal is beside it where the sheep can eat it while not being able to eat the source, meaning it cannot break no matter what happens. So we have a new winner. So that being said, now I'll go into the advanced stuff, because the old design was 8 game tick. However, there's the game runs at 20 ticks per second, and there were some things I did not know, such as, since the wiki said sheep eat every second game tick, is it every even game tick, or is it every odd game tick, or is it like, or is different sheep on different game ticks? So then it's like, okay, do I do the dispenser for the bone meal and the shears on like the same tick as the sheep eats, or separate one off? And it's like, it also depends on the sub tick order, because you could do it in 0 tick if the sheep eat code is first, and then the shears, then the bone meal. But if the dispenser for the shears fire first in the sub tick, which is less than 0.05 seconds, then the sheep eats, then that there wouldn't work. So I went, screw it, assume it's every single tick, which it ended up being, which means you need to fire the dispenser on every single game tick for the bone meal and the shears. That there create its own challenges, because for a dispenser clock here, or a dropper, when you fire it, that's the fastest possible. Where if we freeze the game here and then progress it by 1, so fire there, so then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it fires every 4th game tick. However, we need it to be every game tick. So it's like, okay, you just need to have 4 clocks, which is like this here. But if you notice, when you freeze the game here and you advance it, 1, 2, it's on every second one, where we need every dispenser to be on its own game tick. So that's where we have to do some shenanigans with getting an odd game tick, which is this over here. We'll unfreeze, which, as you see by the different sound compared to this over here, is firing on every game tick. So that's essentially running at 20 hertz. So the farm would need to do this. Now for the dry grass itself, it can be placed on many different blocks, as you can see here. Some of them have some unique properties, such as like grass, since sheep can also eat regular grass underneath the dry grass, and also mud, which has the ability of picking up items directly through it. However, again, due to that bug, sheep can't eat this whenever they're standing on the mud or the farmland. So please upvote that to allow some more farm designs. Other than that, with the tall dry grass, essentially we need to bone meal it 4 times within the farm. So you can do it like all on one and have it like this, or you can have two with different essentially dispenser arrangements for the different ways of bone mealing it. So there's a lot of farm revisions. There's like 19 builds that you're never going to see. So that being said, this here is the final farm design. As you can see, it is pretty compact, being at what's it here, 5x6x3. The only reason why it's 6 tall is because of the single supporting block for redstone dust, which all it does is just redirects this one into this bulb. I'm annoyed, but I can't do anything about it. That being said, this one here fixes a lot of problems with the previous design that is shown up.
The farm can be built in 3 places: the nether, the end, or a mushroom biome. And considering I don't have a mushroom island for thousands of blocks near me, and the nether's kind of annoying because you can't place water, the end is the place that we're going to build this farm.
Such as being able to build it in a biome now, since it's not dependent on the grass and just on the bone mealing of this. Additionally,
although from my testing, sometimes the sheep are eating the grass faster than it can regenerate. I think I'm going to get rid of a few of them.
As you can see, based on the number of sheep in there, this can handle 1 sheep up to 24, and the efficiency loss is basically none.
I filled it all up with a load of shears, as you can see. Actually, way too bad. They've all gone down there. Maybe I got a little bit too carried away with putting them all in. I've definitely maxed out the storage. They'll just have to be lost forever.
Storage, as you can see. One thing to note is this here is not designed for lag efficiency, because having all the mobs in one spot causes a lot more lag. So that being said, it produces essentially, as you can see, first test over 10 hours by essentially doing tick sprints 30 days. One run I get over the maximum theoretically possible, 72, and the next one I get slightly below. It's just because the only slowdown for multiple sheep is if three different sheep all eat grass on the same tick. That's where you can get an efficiency. But 2 sheep eating on the same tick is already 1 in a million. So it's really like rounding error, where even in 20 hours it could be slightly above, slightly below the maximum thing. The other thing to note with this one is if you're doing multiple cells, so like let's say you're doing 24 sheep per clutter. I would wait for this build tutorial a little later in the video, because that there has some resource savings compared to building this 24 times, 16 times. Now, one other thing to note with this little design here, it's sub-tick dependent, because if I turn it on here, you can hear how fast it is with the 24 tick, but if I decide to power it with a line, sorry, I'll do this. And you can see it's running on the every second game tick instead of every game tick. So in order to fix that, if you are powering it to going to be turning it on and off remotely, you're going to have to essentially take this grass here and change it down like that. A second here. If this gets off sync, just grab yourself a button here and power it there. That would fix it. So then now, whenever you turn on and off here, it's running on the expected that. But for compactness sake, I'm just going to do this. And then from there, don't need that. So that's this design here. Now I will go and do a build tutorial for it. So essentially the blocks you're going to need is essentially these ones here. There's only 3 regular building blocks. You can have a log type, 2 or 5 leaves, depending on, like I said, if you're having the power bringing this lever directly, or if you're running a line into it, you need to change to the leaf pattern. And that's let's get building here. So essentially you need to grab yourself the record dropper, observer, redstone dust, along with sticky piston. So I have it marked out here. One thing just for rotation wise, let's just place the 1 block at the back that has the redstone dust on there. And then from here, you need to go up, where there's 2 block out there, and place your first dropper facing upwards. And then you want to do your server on top with your redstone dust. So that's 1 clock there. And then you need to have essentially your supporting block that go into a repeater coming out of it, into a dropper 1 lower, into a server, into that. So that's the 2nd clock. And then from here, let's place our on-off lever right underneath it. which then runs into the sticky piston, into the log block, into the leaves, which is essentially creating the odd game tick to offset the other two. Run that into an observer. Oh, I was one off. That's my bad. Then from here, you want to place some grass blocks because these two are in range to help grow to this one. Leave that out for now. And then from here, place the redstone dust onto there, into your bulb, which is a T flip-flop here. Grab yourself a dispenser. Place one there. Oh, facing that way. And then from here, you want to grab yourself a comparator. Do that. Which then goes into a dropper facing upwards. Dropper or dispenser, but droppers are cheaper. Into observer, redstone dust, and then there you want to go into a comparator, into a dropper one down, into observer, and into redstone dust. And then from here, you can test it. So first time it just does that, but next time you turn it on, as you can see here, it's running at 20 hertz, so that means you built it correctly. So we'll just turn it off again for now. So from here, you can place in your output. So let's see here. So you can do your output there as a chest into your hopper. Here you want to temporarily place a rail and have your minecart on it, hopper minecart specifically. Break the rail, and then here you can place your free grass blocks, where the middle one here you're going to have to push down from the top with a piston. Do that. Yeah, lever here. There you go. So there's that. You can place your tall grass now if you want. Well, actually, we'll leave it out. Place in the other dispenser. So there's one here, one here, one here. So these are your bone meal ones. Now for your shear ones, which is here and here, and then you're going to grab yourself a dropper and place it on the outside ones. Have that go into a dispenser. So those are your other two shears, and then now from here you essentially want to place your hopper. Oh, come on, hopper. And just place them on the top here, and then on the side here to connect that. And then from here, you can essentially put in your sheep, which I just did there, 24 sheep into that. And then from here, you can essentially grab your bone meal and your shears and put them in. So essentially, this one here is the shear, this one here is the shear, shear, and shear. And then for the bone meal, you want to do this over the redstone dust, this over the redstone dust, that there, that hopper into the center. And then from here, you want to make sure to place yourself a cobweb in the center here. This prevents items, wool items shooting out the side of the farms here, losing you items. And then you finish it off with placing a grass block on top, just to encourage growth. And then from here, you can just place your torches on the side, just help the grass spread a little faster, to gain that little bit edge of efficiency. And then from here, just place your dried tall grass. Short works fine as well. So then place that there, place that there. That should be all. So then now, when you fire it, there you go. And then the items should be coming through. Let's see that. And as you can sound, every time there's a shear, that's how fast it's running at, which is quite fast. So yeah, that's the build design for a single module, which can handle one sheep, which is the max efficiency possible of 70 wool per hour per sheep, or up to 24, where it's within margin error of being perfect. Now, let's say you want to have 24 sheep of each color, so 16 modules. Instead of doing this wiring every single time, you can essentially have that timing circuit at the front and kind of continue the same thing. One thing to note with this one is you can turn off individual modules. So let's see. So I turn this one on, each one's firing. Let's say this middle one here, you don't want any wool from that. You can flip this lever and this lever to completely turn it off. However, when you turn it back on, as you can see, the timing is messed up. So in order to fix that, you just have to temporarily turn the whole thing off and turn it back on, and then it's working again at every single game tick. So this here also has 2 variants of allowing you to essentially tile them. You can do the barrels and chests on top if you want to do it manually, or there's the option to add some wire streams on top, which only adds it to be 1 wider in footprint and 1 wider in height. This way you can essentially, if I do this and this, you can essentially supply the whole farm with bonemeal, have it go around like so, and kind of like the same thing with shears. One thing to note is for the packed ice to carry it, you may have to replace 1 or 2 of the grass blocks on top of a certain module. So now onto the build tutorial. So essentially it's the same footprint where it's 5 wide, 6 tall, and then the starting engine is 2, and then each module it's 4, except for the last one because you don't need to carry the redstone single any farther like that. So that being said, you can work out the space. So if you need the 16 cells, it'd be the 16 times 4 minus 1 plus 2. That's essentially that. Anyways, to get started, you essentially just want to place 2 full lines going across the bottom on both sides all the way. And then from here, essentially, if you flip it, it's symmetrical. It works either way. So essentially, you just want to place a block on either or the starting ones, and then from there, you essentially just want to alternate where there's a gap, and then there's a block on the other side, and you just keep doing that all the way down until you hit your end of your line, which is that right there. So then from here, what you want to do, essentially grab your dropper and place it to every second block after the starting 2. You go along. Like so, and then you can go, essentially put in your actually repeater, redstone dust, repeater, redstone dust, repeater. The repeater is essentially the module, while the redstone dust is just carrying it on to the next one. Do the same thing on the other side. So repeater, redstone dust, repeater, redstone dust, repeater. So all the droppers should be varying in height from each other and across. And then from there, you essentially want to place observers on top of that, of each dropper, and place redstone dust on top of each one of those. Same thing on the other side. You have to hold shift when doing it. Then once you have that, you can actually put in your storage thing here. I'll just put that there temporarily, and do your hopper, and do it essentially wherever the repeater is. Now actually let's do the timing circuit at the start. So you can put your power source on either side. I'll just do it on this side here for now. Don't need these two. And place your trapdoor at the top here, and place a solid block here. And do free scaffold, 1 there, 1 over the trapdoor, 1 there. And then you want to go into observer, into a block, which then runs it to copper bulb. And then you want to have that go in the block, go into a comparator. And just to see if you run it right, you can turn on. On and off. And then as you can see, it's all 20 hertz, so you built it correctly. So then from there, what you want to do is essentially grab some grass blocks here, and essentially you can place the 6 on each side, like so, for each module. And then you have to place your temporary rail again on each of the hoppers, so you can get yourself a cart with a hopper on it, and place that on each one of those. And then from there, you can place your, you can break the rail and add the grass blocks beside it. Break the rail, do that. And then you gotta push a grass block down into each hopper minecart. So we need a piston. So we do that. Oh, the rail's not broke. There we go. And then from there, you can grab all your dispensers and some droppers. And you essentially want to place the 2 rows of 3 here, all facing in. And then you want to place a dropper on the outside of that against the redstone dust, and then have your 2 dispensers inside. And you just repeat that for each one. So 6 dispensers along like this, droppers to the outside, with dispensers in the middle. Repeat that one more time. Dispenser, dispenser, dropper outside, and then dispenser in the middle. And then from here, you can place all your hoppers. So just place it on that level and wherever they'll fit. So on the outside, you just do it to the side. Repeat that again. Along like that, and that. And then from here, you can actually put in your sheep in each pen. 1 to 24 in each one. And then you grab yourself a torch and also the dry grass. And you essentially want, I forgot to mention, you also need a lever. So dry grass, torch, lever. So do that on each side here. And then from there, you can grab yourself a cobweb, put it in here to stop the items from flying out the sides. Place a grass block on top. And then from here, you gotta choose if you're going to do the chests and the barrels, or the wire streams to essentially supply each one. I'm just going to do the barrels just to mark. So essentially, the middle ones here are shears, with the outside ones being shears as well. And then the rest of the hoppers are chests, so you can do that. You can do that. So forth and so forth. And just speed things up, I'll just place something here. Just turn on the farm. And then you can turn on. As you can see, it all works. You can turn off a specific module, like so. And then turn back on, do that. Turn them all off, and then turn them on and it's lined up. And there you go. I have a couple more farm designs involving sheep coming up soon using this new tech. So hopefully you'll see us soon. Have a good day.